call the meeting to order of the Board of Trustees. You hear that?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So welcome, and it's now time for the dramatic reading of the electronic meeting script. Are you ready? Okay, to conduct this meeting wholly electronically and to effectuate both the emergency procedures authorized by FOIA and the emergency ordinance, this Library Board of Trustees needs to make certain findings and determinations for the record. First, because each member of this Library Board of Trustees is participating in this meeting from a separate location, we must verify that a quorum of members is participating and that each member's voice is clear, audible, and at appropriate volume for all of the other members. Accordingly, I am going to conduct a roll call and ask each library board member participating in this meeting to state your name, and the location from which you are participating. I ask that each of you pay close attention to ensure that you can hear each of your colleagues. Following this roll call, we will vote to establish that every member can hear every other member.
I know you're very proud of.
So everyone, it's a good idea if you're not on the Board of Trustees to mute yourself. And now I will start with Braddock District.
Brian Engler, I'm here at my home in Brook, Virginia, and I can hear and see everyone.
Thank you. Providence District. Miriam.
I am here in my home in Fairfax, Virginia.
Great. At large, Jane.
I'm Jane Miscavige. I'm here at home in Vienna, Virginia.
Great. City of Fairfax, Suzanne.
I'm Suzanne Levy, and I'm here at home in the city of Fairfax.
Thank you. Drainsville, Sujatha.
I'm Sujatha Hampton. I'm here in my home in Great Falls, Virginia.
Thank you. Hunter Mill, Sheila.
I'm Sheila Janica, and I'm here in Reston, Virginia at my home.
Lee District, Keith.
Hi, I'm Keith Fox. I'm here in my home in Springfield, Virginia.
Thank you. Mount Vernon, Gary.
Gary Russell in my home in Mount Vernon.
Thank you. School Board, Priscilla.
Good evening, I'm Priscilla Dando. I'm at home in Woodbridge.
Sully District, Liz.
Hi, Liz Walker. I'm at my home in Centerville, Virginia.
And Springfield, Phil.
Phil Rosenthal, my home, Fairfax Station, Virginia.
Okay, great. At this point in the meeting, I will pass the virtual gavel to the vice chair so that I may be heard to make the requisite motion. And I move that each member's voice may be adequately heard by each other member of this Library Board of Trustees.
There a second?
I second.
Second.
Second by Liz. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It is so moved.
Thank you, Jane. Second, having established that each member's voice may be heard by every other member, we must next establish the nature of the emergency that compels these emergency procedures. The fact that we are meeting electronically, what type of electronic communication is being used, and how we have arranged for public access to this meeting. Therefore, I move that the state of emergency caused by the COVID-19 pandemic makes it unsafe for this board to physically assemble and unsafe for the public to physically attend any such meeting. And that as such, FOIA's usual procedures, which require the physical assembly of this board and the physical presence of the public, cannot be implemented safely or practically. I further move that this board may conduct this meeting electronically through a dedicated Zoom meeting and that the public may access this meeting by the link that is on the library website.
Second the motion.
Thank you, Brian, for the second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 It is so moved.
Now, the need to dispense with FOIA's usual procedures to assure continuity in government and continue operations. Finally, it is next required that all of the matters addressed on today's agenda must address the emergency itself, are necessary for continuity in Fairfax County government, and or are statutorily required or necessary to continue operations and the discharge of this board's lawful duties, purposes, and responsibilities.
Is there a second?
Phil, I second.
Thank you, Phil. All those in favor, say aye.
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 It's so moved.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Next on the agenda is our public comments, and I have to read that so that's exactly correct. So here we go. The library board wishes to provide an opportunity for the public to comment on library-related issues. It is our policy to hear a maximum of 5 speakers at each regularly scheduled board meeting. Speakers are limited to 1 public comment during a 6-month period. Each speaker has a maximum of 3 minutes for their comments. A 30-second warning will be given before each speaker's time is up, and the speaker will be expected to end promptly when time is called. Speakers are requested to pre-register with the library director. However, if there are available public comment slots open at the time of a board meeting, the remaining slots may be filled by individuals registering at the meeting. Board members will not question or respond to speakers. Tonight, there are no registered speakers that I know of. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. So if anyone wishes to speak at a future meeting, please call the director's office at 703-324-8324. Okay. And before we go into the presentation, I just wanted to make a quick announcement, an email that I got from ALA that included in the CARES and the Rescue Act was $200 million for the Institute of Museum and Library Services. This is the single largest increase in the agency's history, and a new $7 billion program for libraries and schools to distribute technology necessary for remote learning, working from home, virtual healthcare visits, and more. So that's exciting news. I wanted to, breaking news, there it is. Okay, all right, so now it is my pleasure to welcome everyone to the 2nd annual Staff Excellence Award Show part of the meeting. This is, last year we started this, and it came about because some members of the public had asked how could they honor our wonderful staff, and the board and the director got together and came up with this staff excellence program. And for 2 weeks in February, starting on Valentine's Day appropriately, the public is invited to make written nominations of staff members who have really impressed them with their library service. This year, we received almost 100 applications for the committee of 3, Jane, Liz, and Jessica, to review. And the nominations covered 19 of our libraries and administration. They ranged from library aides to branch managers, early literacy assistants to local history specialists. And most of the write-ups were very personal and really expressed a heartfelt feeling of how welcoming the staff people were and how professional the services provided. So it's a combination of, you know, knowledge, skills, and service, and making people feel welcome with their requests and their library needs. And when you think about the fact that for the last year, we've either been closed and just have curbside service where you sit in your car and you call and someone answers, and it's really nice because I use that service. Or when we were open, you could go in and pick up books and look quickly on the stacks, but not stay longer than 30 minutes. So it's really interesting how much of an impression staff makes. And I'm so glad that we instituted this program as it's really a great grassroots way for staff to be recognized. So we're going to start with the honorable mentions, and Brian is going to kick us off with that. And then I think I already emailed everybody, but I will then, I have a list and I'll call on you. It's in alphabetical order. I just thought that would make it easy for people to, when am I supposed to read my award? No. So Brian, take it away.
Okay, I'm very pleased to be able to announce some honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is Sarah Souther. Sarah is an information services librarian at George Mason Regional Library. She was an award winner last year too, so she's already set a record here for 22 years. Her nominator wrote that, quote, Sarah runs a once-a-month evening book club group. I found this group during COVID when all went online. Sarah selects thoughtful, diverse books and welcomes suggestions from the group, researches and creates thoughtful book club questions, and supports interactive dialogue with the attendees. The great books, great discussion, laughter, and a welcoming group have made a big difference during the pandemic. I can't wait to meet everyone in person. So let's give her a hand here, a virtual hand, right? I don't know how we do that. Okay. Congratulations, Sarah. Okay, the second honorable mention is the entire curbside crew at the Pohick Regional Library. The nomination reads, quote, I am nominating the staff members of Pohick Regional Library who facilitate the curbside holds. When everything shut down last spring, it became clear very quickly that the closed business and organization my family missed the most was the library. We were in the Pohick parking lot the morning curbside pickup went live, and we return at least once a week to pick up a pile of holds. And I truly mean a pile. Between my card and my two kids' cards, we regularly pick up anywhere from 20 to 50 books. I always feel guilty for the staff member who takes my call and has to check out and deliver all those books. But each and every person has been unfailingly kind and helpful. The library's pivot to curbside has been a gift. I can remain safe while providing my family with a regular rotation of new reading material, something that has become increasingly precious as we remain so isolated and attempt homeschool for a year. In this new world where everything is harder, I'm so grateful to the Pohick staff for making this one thing easy. I wish I could personalize my nomination, but since a different person takes my call each time, I want to nominate the entire curbside staff. So congratulations, all of you. Now I want to introduce Andrew Pendergast and give him a couple minutes. He is the branch manager at Pohick and asked to say a few words after this honorable mention. Andrew, you here?
Yes, thank you so much. You know, that was so good to hear. This has been you know, an amazing year in so many ways. But in this case, you know, I don't know which patron this is because we have so many that are kind of in that bag. And I was just out there shelving holds and many between 5 and 50, you know, books for their family. But it's been a great year, you know, for us. We're happy to get out there whenever we see patrons. Of course, it's a distance operation. You know, it's a very positive. We always get tons of feedback, and just grateful that we're here. Things like that. But to be recognized in this way in this forum, you know, on behalf of the Pohick staff, we thank so much, and we really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to sharing it with my staff. Because they haven't heard about that yet, but I'm gonna, you know, we'll talk about it tomorrow, most definitely. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrew. Back to you, Fran.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's my pleasure to announce Kevin Brooks, recipient, and he is the library administration facility coordinator. And that means that he has to ensure that all the libraries are in tip-top shape. And he also has to keep all renovations moving through the construction process in coordination with the county's capital facilities staff. His nominator writes that Kevin is in charge of operations for all county-owned facilities and is expected to be available 24/7 for any branch maintenance issues. One of the reasons that I'm delivering this award announcement is because as a former assistant branch manager, that person is in charge of the library. And so I can remember, as I'm sure other library staff, some of the things that happen in buildings are really unmentionable. And I remember my first reaction was, I went to library school for this. I was totally surprised. I know one day I walked in, this was a little branch in Arlington. I walked in and it was cold in the building, I thought. And then the water in the toilet was frozen solid. And I'm like, wow, I never knew that could happen. And when something like that happens, it's wonderful to have someone that you're supposed to call who's going to be there. It's going to pick up the phone and it's going to say, don't worry, I will take care of it. So this kind of an award, it's sort of the unsung hero in the back, not out on the front staff. But Kevin, as such, Kevin is definitely a major factor in keeping things running smoothly behind the scenes. He doesn't receive much recognition because these aren't things that the public hears about that much. But I know in some branches when people would come and say, the bathroom is really awful, I would just go and lock the door and put a do not enter sign on it because I'm like, I'm not dealing with that. And get on the phone. Anyway, I agree with the remark of the nominator that libraries would not be able to operate without his support. So Kevin, I don't know if you're here to say a few words.
Yes, thank you, Fran,
Oh,
very much.
yay. Great. Good to see you.
I just want to thank the board for the recognition. It's greatly appreciated. I also want to thank you guys very much for continuing to support the library staff the way you do. I want to thank my supervisor, Ted. I think he's on this evening, Ted Kavich. And also thank everybody in library admin. I work with some great people. And I'd be remiss if I also didn't thank all the county agencies that I work with that support the library. Every day I'm dealing with other agencies to keep the libraries going. I also want to say that, it's true that much of what I do is behind the scenes, but I do take a great deal of pride in knowing that I play a small part in helping the amazing library staff serve the public of Fairfax County. So thank you very much for this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now I'll turn it over to Keith Fox.
Oh, so I get to follow that. So my person.
Get up your game here, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Well, first of all, Charlotte, can you say something so people can see you?
Hey, everybody. Hi.
There you go. I wanted her to get
Martha
the
Washington.
spotlight before I talk. And so this is it's a pleasure for me to read this, and particularly for us to be talking about outstanding people. So I practiced this about 4 times today. So here we go.
Yay.
Charlotte is the page manager at the Martha Washington Library. Her nominator wrote, "Charlotte is the best. She greets us by name when we come in. She knows when we have books on hold. She has great book recommendations, and she helps us with when we are dim-witted about our library issue. She sends us cards at Christmas. And best yet, when we were completely locked down due to COVID concerns with 50 plus library books, somebody else mentioned that before, 50 plus library books checked out, she picked them up from our house and returned them for us."
Wow.
Talk about exceptional customer service. Charlotte definitely deserves a gold star. Her supervisor wrote, "The most succinct phrase of praise for Charlotte on receiving this very well-deserved award is, like Mary Poppins, she is practically perfect in every way. She is 100% organized, forward-thinking, has great ideas, such as her popular weekly MW trivia contest. Patrons obviously love her, and she has a terrific sense of humor." So reading this tonight just made me feel great. I can't wait to hear about everybody else, but congratulations to Charlotte, and thank you for all that you do. And I'm glad you're getting this recognition tonight.
Wow. That's really nice. And nice job reading it. Thank you for.
That was good time.
Thank you to the board for having this program. I think that it's really neat to establish relationships with the patrons. And like he said, I do like reading them by name. It's fun to, and especially at a smaller branch, we have so many regulars and we get to have time to, get to know them a little bit. And this is really cool. Thank you so much. Love it.
Love your t-shirt too, or your shirt.
Gotta be on brand, right?
That's right. That's great.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you so much. Next, Priscilla Dando.
Good evening, and I am honored to acknowledge and recognize Jan Herod and her work, and I'm wondering, I like Keith's strategy, if Jan is here, if she could let us see her.
I'm here. I'm sitting in my reading corner. This is where I do the library right now.
Wonderful, Jan. It is so my pleasure to read some of the wonderful things that people have said about you. Jan Harrod is an early literacy assistant in library administration. Jan's many nominators say that Jan works hard to continue to engage young learners during these unusual times. Her story times are fun, filled with songs, games, and puppets. I know it takes extra time for her to carefully plan how she will manage her materials so the children can enjoy the book and other activities. I am glad Jan and the other early childhood staff have figured out how to continue to serve the youngest library patrons and their families. And they say that she is energetic, engaging, and super well prepared. And finally, somebody says, in all caps with 4 exclamation marks, we all love books more because of Ms. Jan. Her supervisor writes that Jan's passion for early literacy and commitment to providing an excellent customer experience makes her an excellent candidate for the Staff Excellence Award. She represents the library's values of being service-oriented and community-focused by providing engaging and entertaining outreach story times to children throughout the county. Congratulations, Jan.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you. This was delightful, and I echo Kevin's comments. It's lovely that the board offers this program. It's been quite a year. I'm finishing up my 7th year on the staff as a library early literacy assistant, and I was a volunteer for about 2.5 years before that. But we've never had a year like this where we have, this is how we do all of our work. This is how we do all of our story times now. And you never know, it's like Forrest Gump, you never know what you're gonna get. I was just looking at some notes. Apparently I've produced 169 video story times, offered 169 video story times, but on our YouTube channel with something like 15,000 views just up until January from last March. But I was really pleased. Yesterday, I did a site where I had, by a conservative estimate, 105 people on the video call doing a story time. So we've really rolled with the punches. If you watch any of the videos, I am the one who's not ashamed to sing. I sing on almost all my videos. And when I sing with a story time, this is my reading buddy, Jeffrey. He's always sitting here with me. And it's been a really challenging year for us, but it is great to be able to still have contract with my patrons are 3- and 4-year-olds. So it's very different having contact with them in this environment than other Zoom meetings that you might have been on. But thank you very much. I really appreciate the recognition.
Thank you. And now Sujata Hampton.
Hi, everybody. I have the great honor of honoring. I muted myself.
Yeah, what happened? I think you did it again.
Oh my goodness, what am I doing? Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I have a lot of paper here. I'm sorry. Sujata, not this Sujata. The person I am honoring's name is Sujata. Could you speak up so that you will come up on this? On the grid? I saw you here earlier. You there? Where'd you go? Oh, there, I see you, Sujata. Hi. Sujata is a library aide at the Reston Regional Library. Sujata's numerous nominators had many great things to say about her, including, I just love her. She is always there to help find books and assist finding things at the library. Sujata is very patient and answers all questions to the best of her ability. She's always smiling and gives guidance to all aged people. She is a bank of information due to her interest in reading herself and has helped my kids find the information needed for their projects. We really appreciate her help, and I appreciate all the people who work in the pandemic, but she stood out with all her knowledge and willingness to go the extra mile. Her branch manager shared that she always thinks about how she can help everyone in the library and is always enthusiastic to take on any job or project with a smile. Her attention to detail is amazing, with her ability to catch small errors and see issues in workflow that she's been assigned. Sujata is such a powerful force and contributor to the overall positive morale of the library. She always comes in full of energy and laughing, no matter no matter how hard we are working. She always has a smile and a joke with the staff. I have seen so many times with her staff when the staff may have been in lower spirits, only to have been picked up by the pure positivity that Sujata radiates. Which I think is lovely. I never get to say wonderful things about someone else named Sujata. I've never met, I don't think, another person named Sujata. So this was a rare honor for me. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Can I say a few words?
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you all for the presenting this award to me. I'm so grateful a part of the Fairfax County Library system. And I want to say thank you to my supervisor, Perlin, and Western Regional Library.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Next is Sheila.
Okay, well, I have the great pleasure of also introducing Wanla, who is a library aide at Western Regional Library. And I'd like to just begin saying that she is one of my personal favorites when I pop into the library. Are you here someplace, Wanla? I can't see on my, well, anyway, when I pop into the library, she makes me feel so welcome. She always has time for her patron, if she's working with somebody, she always makes time for somebody else. She's always helpful. Now, this is what the nominees have said about her. I view Wanla as Reston's library ambassador. She always talks about books, the library, and things it offers. She is a constant reader and has a fund of information about books. When Wanla waits on you in the library, she's so friendly, helpful, and courteous. Her long employment reveals how dedicated she is to the Fairfax Library. Thank you for employing this wonderful lady. And then someone else says, Wanla is always cheerful and happy to help. I have never found her unable to answer a question. She is always smiling. And I have to say that smile makes everybody feel so welcome when we hop into the Western Regional Library. And I don't, is Wanla here? Can we?
Yes.
Hi there, Sheila. Hey, thank you so much. No,
Well, I can't see your smile, but I'm glad that you're on the other side there.
Oh, I appreciate everything. I really miss you. I remember I just said yeah, and what to thank for the nominations and think kindly of me. And I was more than that. This is my 26th year, and I.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, in the service, and then it's way back then. It's just like if I take the bus, I'm the bus. What do you call that? Bus mobile. People know that I work at a library. They ask me, "Can you take the book for me to return?"
Oh, gee.
I go back and forth, and I take them. And I nothing want to add this because I really appreciate the access service, which we don't talk much about it for the elderly, for the senior.
Yeah.
Because I know that the program we support, a lot of the digital and everything. And I remember when I went to visit my neighbor, they have partial blind or cannot drive or go to there. I said, that the access service has this program, and they really appreciate that. And I just want to emphasize that they actually work. That I don't know how that burn up that, but they right now they're still ongoing with the book talk. It ongoing how you can have the call them, and then they can send you book what you want and put it in by the mail, the blue back pouch, whatever it is. I have been told for many times, many years, that all the thing I talk about is books and read, and it's just like nothing else. Even with my daughter too, with the book club, do you read this? Do you read that? That kind of thing. So I don't want to take too much time, but I remember you, and I would just appreciate that for everything that everybody working so hard for too. So thank you.
Well, congratulations, and yay.
Thank you. Thank you. And next is Suzanne Levy.
Laura Wickstead, could you say hello so we can see your smiling face, please?
Greetings all.
Hi.
Hi.
I have the great honor to read the nomination for Laura Wickstead. She is the manager of the Virginia Room at City of Fairfax Regional Library, a place near and dear to my heart. Her nominator wrote that Laura has been so helpful when I needed to find and use maps, history, and genealogy reference materials, and online resources which are only offered in the Virginia Room. Laura is always willing to consider obtaining books and resources which patrons suggest to her for acquisition. She is also willing to discuss individual genealogy problems when she has the time. Together, she and the staff all provide wonderful support for genealogists. Her supervisor feels that as manager of the Virginia Room, Laura Wickstead is uniquely positioned to serve the needs of customers throughout the entire county and beyond. And she rises to that challenge with gusto. She responds to customer requests with exemplary courtesy, enthusiasm, and professionalism. She consistently looks for new and better ways to make the public aware of the services and resources of the Virginia Room has to offer, and encourages her staff to do the same. And I would add just a personal note here. I answer reference requests for the Historical Society of Fairfax County and frequently just pass them right up the line to the Virginia Room. And Laura helped me out today with a response to a question I sent her. So she's always on call. And congratulations, Laura. This is very well deserved.
Thank you. I look forward to the day when we are past all this and you all can come visit the Virginia Room. I'm sure Suzanne would agree. My understanding is that you all love the Virginia Room, just some of you don't know it yet. So I hope you'll come and visit. And I want to thank the Virginia Room staff. Chris Barbershak was recognized last year, and they're all superlative in every way. And let Tech Ops know that even though Michelle Bernaco is in cataloging, she's really Virginia Room staff undercover at Tech Ops. And of course, Suzanne LaPierre and Elaine McRae. It's a great team. I'm sure I have tried my supervisor a few times, Laura Raymond, and she is wonderful, guiding me along the path when I go astray and supporting my efforts to get out and about and teach classes and do those kinds of things. So thank you all. This is lovely. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Laura.
Congratulations. Thank you. And next, Jane Miscavige.
It's my pleasure to tell you how excellent Ginger Hawkins is. Ginger, could you say hello so we can see you?
Hi.
Hi there. So Ginger is an adult information assistant at the Patrick Henry Library in Vienna. Ginger's nominator wrote, while requesting Ginger's help to confirm availability of a book on World War II at the Patrick Henry branch, she was kind to volunteer her assistance with recommendations on other books that I may enjoy reading in this subject area. In response to my later My Perfect Read online submission request, she researched and prepared a thoughtful selection of recommended readings for my reference. Ginger took time to curate suggestions, both fiction and nonfiction, that were ideal for my interests and also included context on each book, highlighting how they may be appropriate for my reading. I believe Ginger's kind outreach and continued service exemplifies the very best of Fairfax Library's stellar staff. The library's patrons are especially fortunate to have such friendly and dedicated staff like Ginger, who actively contribute their time and expertise to help enrich our reading experience. Ginger's supervisor writes that Ginger Hawkins is known for her clear instructions on anything technical, and patrons benefit from her depth of knowledge and patience. Her contributions to the My Perfect Read program reflect a thoughtful appreciation for literary novels, demanding, creative, and satisfying, and go well beyond standard genre categories. Her pragmatic insight in solving service conundrums and communicating solutions and limits with respect has won her fans even among those most difficult to satisfy. We are all lucky to work with her. Ginger, on behalf of the board and your patrons, thank you for your service.
Thank you. I'm honored by this award. Thanks to the committee, to the board, to the library administration, and Jessica for creating this award. It's a really bright spot in a very difficult year. If doing curbside only over the past couple of months has taught me anything, it's that I miss our customers. I'm very excited about reopening. So to have this award come from one of our customers is especially a great thing. They teach me new things every day. And my favorite part of the job is talking books with the people who come to the information desk or who reach out through My Perfect Read. It's like I'm part of 1,000 small book clubs. I'm so lucky to work with colleagues. Anybody who works in the library will tell you that librarians are the best. I'm truly lucky. And I want to thank Deb, especially my supervisor, for creating a place where we're encouraged to really sharpen our readers' advisory skills every day. So thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Next is Phil Rosenthal.
It's my honor and pleasure to read the nomination of Andrew Pendergast, who's the branch manager of the Pohick Library. It was interesting earlier when Brian recognized the staff of the Pohick Library. In order to have a good staff, you need a good branch manager. And I can assure you that Andrew fills that bill with the above expectation. So I'd like to read what the nominator said about him. This nominator wrote that the Pohick team, under the leadership of Mr. Pendergast, is phenomenal. The pandemic has really highlighted just how critical their work is to improving education and reading enjoyment. We use the library very regularly and have greatly benefited the services of the staff at the Pohick Library. Mr. Pendergast is professional, very helpful. He has helped us on a number of occasions with 3D printing. He is detail-oriented, gives great suggestions on improving structures. Our kids have really learned a lot from the 3D printing program, and Mr. Pendergast and his team do a great job supporting this and other efforts. It's the little details that make this team so great. And again, you had the staff recognized, and then people recognize what a great manager that Andrew is. His supervisor shared that Andrew is a model branch manager. I admire his leadership and decision-making skills. He's an inspiration to his staff and resource for the system. Congratulations on a well-deserved award.
Well, yes, that's overwhelming. Thank you so much, Phil. Really appreciate that. And by the way, Phil, thank you for those donuts last weekend. The staff really appreciated it, just to let you know. So, thank you for the board. Thank you for the patron, suggesting that. I'm gonna accept this award in the spirit of, I know it's got my name on it, but it's really representing the work of the entire staff. I feel like, because the staff has been very, very responsive. I do, I'm not going to repeat the part before, but this Pohick team has really responded, amazingly to the challenge. And I won't get into it all because I know every branch has its story. But just speaking for Pohick, it's been an amazing kind of year journey where everyone's looking forward to moving away to a little bit more of a normal part. But it's been a fantastic year. Thank you again. Really appreciate it. Thanks for creating this award. And it's good to hear the stories about all the great work everyone's doing. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And next is Gary Russell.
Thanks, Fran. One of the real highlights representing Mount Vernon has been enjoying the leadership of 4 truly remarkable branch managers. And I'm thrilled that another one of them's being honored this year, namely Barbara Rice, the branch manager of the Kingstown Library. Barbara, unfortunately, I haven't seen your smiling face now for a whole year. And I only have 25 people I can see on the screen. And I can't see it now. Are you there? Well, let me read the nominator's comments. Ms. Barbara is a bit of a celebrity in our house.
Yeah.
She's opened our eyes to the amazing community and resources waiting for us at the library and totally converted us to card-toting regulars. Our kids love her because she makes them feel special each time they hit a milestone in their 1,000 books before kindergarten program. My husband and I are burned out pandemic parents of a virtual kindergartner and an energetic 3-year-old. We love her because she tipped us off to the crafts to go. Of course, we also have to mention Books and Brews. Pre-pandemic, I looked forward to Barbara's homemade treats. My favorite was the IPA lemon bars, and a great conversation with new friends each month. While my husband looked forward to whatever growler of beer I brought home from the local brewery where we met. I missed the treats and James misses the beer, but I am more grateful than ever for the chance to connect with this group of people each month and escape reality, talk about a book with old and new friends. And it has been Barbara's vision and commitment that created and sustained this space for former strangers to come together and to talk about books and ourselves. We know that we aren't the only ones who are grateful for all that Ms. Barbara does, but we have the added joy of seeing what love she pours into her work at the library. Her supervisor writes that Barbara creates an atmosphere where her staff can flourish. I admire her easygoing attitude and willingness to do what it takes to get the job done. I'm not surprised to see her recognized by the customers she serves. And I want to add, for those of you who don't know Barbara, I want to quell a rumor that the awards committee was bribed with lemon bars and beer. Seriously, like her supervisor, all of us who know her need no further incentives to shout out her merits than seeing the results of that vision and commitment that was mentioned. Congratulations, Barbara.
She is. Thank you. Yeah, when I found out I won, I practically fell off my chair. Like, me? Really? But thank you all, and thank you all who nominated me. Thank you to the board, Jessica. A few years ago at a Virginia Library Conference, I picked up, when you had your badge, you got these little badge stickers you can add to it. And I picked up one that you can't really see it, but it says, I made a difference. I'm like, yeah, I make a difference, sure. And it really hit home when I found out that I won the award. It's like, wow, I guess I do it more than I realized, but it's kind of what we do. And the fact that I've been doing this for 30 some years, it proves that I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love it so much. And to think that people took out the time of their lives, especially this past year, to nominate all these people tonight, it's really touching that our customers really do love us, and it's been a great job. I've enjoyed all of it. Well, most of it.
Love you, Miss Barbara.
All right.
Amazing Miss Barbara.
All right.
Cry now.
Thank you. And you can give them their lemon bars, right? No.
Hey, Barbara, this is your family in Knoxville.
Yay.
Hey, Grace. Hey, Grace.
We loved you.
All right. Thank you. Next is Miriam Smallin.
Okay. So I am very honored to discuss the award winner, Shalaja Vidula. Goes by Shala. Are you on tonight? Can say something so we can see your face if you're here. Okay, well, even
I saw her, so maybe she needs to unmute, maybe.
Are you there? Oh, there you are. Excellent.
Yeah, I saw. I had seen
All
it.
right. Okay. Shala is a youth services information assistant at the Oakton Library. Her nominator wrote that my daughter and I absolutely cherished our weekly trips to the Oakton Library, Lapsit for babies and young toddlers. Shala enchanted all the babies and offered unceasing encouragement to accompanying parents to participate. We can all drag on Monday mornings, but not Shala. She always gave 100% during Lapsit. She undoubtedly understands the foundational elements of reading and knows exactly how to bring this to every class: rhyming songs, rhythm, repetition, engagement, and fun. She reminded us that reading and learning don't mean sitting in one spot, and she's happy to see the audience embracing space and movement while they're learning. Her supervisor wrote, Shala is an integral member of the Oakton Library team. Her passion, dedication, and commitment to provide the best for the children of our communities goes beyond storytelling and programming. She consistently celebrates the uniqueness of every child and everything she does. That is such a special commentary on how much passion you bring to the job. Congratulations, and we'd love to hear you say a few words.
Thank you so much. It was very surprising for me to receive this award. I love my story times. I miss my babies. And if Jessica allows me, I'm willing to babysit Hannah.
That's great.
I truly miss my babies. It's my passion. I came to United States in 1996, and it was a Thursday. I went to library on Monday all by myself. That was my first venture out. And I said, please God, get me a job in the library. And here I am. So I'm very happy about that. I'm working in the library. I love my job a lot. And I think I wouldn't have been able to achieve whatever I have achieved without my own personal Mona Lisa. I don't know whether this smile is mysterious or not, but definitely benevolent. Mona and Lisa are my supervisors at Oakton, so I call them Mona Lisa. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much. Thank you for the board. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. And now Liz Walker.
All righty. Kylie Sparks, if you could speak up for a minute and unmute yourself so we could see you. I know Kylie's here. I saw her.
I saw her.
Kylie?
I'm unmuting. I'm here.
Okay, great.
Okay, great. All righty. It's my pleasure to honor our awardee from the Chantilly Library, Kylie Sparks. And she was nominated by numerous individuals. And it says that Kylie is an information service librarian at the Chantilly Regional Library. One of her main areas of focus is in supporting English language learners and their conversation groups at the branch. Kylie's a nominator said that she always encourages them during their English language journey, that she is a great, warm-hearted person, and she makes us like books and libraries. It's very interesting that you make them like books and libraries. One of her many nominators wrote, I'm taking an English conversation class that she leads. She corrects us well when we talk and organizes them and sends them by email. And she sends us a good part of the book she reads herself. Sometimes she sends us the necessary materials to help us learn English. I appreciate her interest, affection, and passion for her student. Her supervisor shared that Kylie Sparks is dedicated to providing excellent customer service, especially to customers who request ELL, English Language Learners Services. Kylie manages the ELL programs at Chantilly Regional Library and also assists technical operations in selecting ELL materials for the entire system. And she is passionate about both. Kylie is also a member of the My Perfect Read team, and she gets really excited when she's asked to help customers find their next read, suggest titles, and make grab bags. Not only does Kylie provide fantastic customer service, but she is always eager to help other staff members and has been a great help to the circulation department during the pandemic. Thank you, Kylie, for everything that you do. And again, you are one of the many employees that expands my knowledge of what we're doing for our communities. Whoever would think that English language learners conversation groups is part of your services. So thank you so much. And would you like to say something?
Thank you so much. Oh, what nice comments. I really am thankful to the board. I think this is such a cool idea, and this award means so much to me because it comes from the public, and the public is why I love my job so much. I've worked in a number of libraries, and I've never worked anywhere that had nicer patrons. And I've worked in a number of Fairfax libraries, and now because I do a lot of subbing, and it's pretty, and now with my Zoom class, I find that patrons come from all the libraries to the classes. So it's really been fun getting to know people from throughout the system. And thank you so much to my wonderful managers and coworkers and colleagues. Let's see. And thank you so much to the people who nominated me. That it was just so sweet to take the time. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kylie. Thank you.
Okay, what a wonderful way to start a meeting, I have to say. And I would also like to say that these nominations and these recipients illustrate something that I have always thought, that working with the public, whether indirectly or directly, is performance art and an art. You never know what's going to happen. And I know I loved being on the reference desk for that reason, because you just don't know who's going to come up. You don't know what's going to happen. And it's exciting and fulfilling. And I think that this year, like last year, this year's batch of winners really, or awardees, we're all winners, really exemplifies the artistry of the library service that we provide and how much our public appreciates it. So once again, I'd like to give a round of applause to everyone. Thank you. Okay, and now we have to return to the work of the board. I'm sorry, this was so much fun, but we'll do it again, definitely. All right, thank you. So next on the agenda are the minutes. And so we need a
I'll move that we approve the minutes
Brian.
of the February 2021.
Thank you, Brian. Do we have a second?
I second, Phil.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Okay, are you ready to vote? Those in favor of accepting the minutes, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say no. Okay, thank you. Minutes are passed. And now we move on to my report, which I don't have a report because we just had a wonderful experience, and that is fine. We can move on to committee reports, and the first one is Library Foundation. Suzanne, if you have
Thank
anything.
you, Fran. The
Uh-huh.
Library Foundation Board met yesterday morning, and I'm just going to read some of the highlights. They're working on the draft of their annual report, and it should be out in April. I believe you'll all get copies of that. Their expenses are down this year, not unsurprisingly, but they're still trying to do some fundraising, and we are going to be doing something called friend raising, and the members of the foundation board are going to be getting some training, and I'm sure you will all be asked to help us out in the donation drive. That's going to be called donor days. We're going to have donor days. there are some programs in the works. They haven't pinpointed the date, but they're going to do another outdoor cinema at the Chantilly Library parking lot. So if you missed it last year, it's either going to be on April 24th or May 8th. And they're working on what the movie will be and which date it will be. So pray for good weather both those weekends. And I finally wanted to say the scholarship committee has met, and I'm not sure what the final count of the number of scholarships awarded are going to be, but there were some amazing nominations, and most of them will be getting a scholarship. And I assume those letters will be going out soon. And that's my notes from the foundation board. Oh, I know one more thing. They're working on getting some speakers. They're hoping to have John Dickerson, who grew up in Fairfax County, as well as somewhere here I wrote it down. Well, you'll hear about it when the time comes, but they are hoping to get a number of speakers. And I was going to mention, thank you for the staff who put together the Marie Benedict program last week. She was wonderful. And look for more speakers. I think next week is the Kristen Hanna program. Maybe it's the week after. And there are a number of programs. Jessica sent an email, so you can look at those. And that's all I have, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Suzanne. Does anyone have any questions for Suzanne about the foundation? Okay, great. Next is the Finance Committee, Miriam.
Okay, so we did meet on March 2nd. I'll let Jessica, when it's her turn to do the director's report, do the very brief summary about the actual budget. But as you all know, and what was anticipated, it is a flat budget, and we still are grateful that we haven't been asked to cut our budget, and Jessica can talk a little bit more about that. What we did spend some time on was talking about how we as a board can continue to, be present for our supervisors so that we will be somewhere top of mind when times turn better, which hopefully we all hope will happen. And one way we talked about doing that was every supervisor is now going to have their town hall, their budget town hall, and they're going to have their budget town hall. They're all going to be live streamed or some version of that. So it used to be you could go in person and wear your big library sticker, but that doesn't happen anymore. But we can all send a communication or a comment to their public comment. Jessica included in the packet that everybody got the schedule of the town halls, and my suggestion to you would be check and see when your town hall is. My supervisor for Providence already had hers. I signed up to attend, and in advance, I sent an email to the comment line using a lot of what Jessica had sent around. If you all see, if you didn't notice, there was an email with some suggested talking points. In essence, what we're doing in that email is, again, commending them for the work that they're doing during this very difficult time and recognizing that, the resources need to be spread in order to deal with the COVID crisis, the education crisis. But then spending some time in the email talking about how the library has creatively innovated to meet some of these challenges and highlighting some excellent points. And at the end, reinforcing that we will be back when times are better. So the suggestion of the committee to everybody, if you wish, is to go ahead and use that email and communicate with your supervisor in advance of their budget meeting, even if you end up not attending. The other thing I would point out in the packet, because I thought it was pretty useful, Jessica included just the 3 pages from the county proposed budget, which describes what the library situation is. It's fairly well laid out, but there is also a great chart. I'm just going to hold it up. It's in your packet, which describes the entire county budget as a pie chart, and you can't even see it, but we are this tiny little green strip right here. So when you go in your packet, this is always worth noticing how many services we provide for the little tiny strip that they allotted to us in the pie chart. I think that's it for the Finance Committee. Jessica, I don't know if you want to go ahead and do that part of your summary right now, since we're talking about the budget.
Sure, I can if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are just a couple high-level overview points about the advertised budget that came out on February 23rd. The first is that staff of the county are recommending a 1 cent decrease on the property tax rate from 1.15 to 1.14. And that property tax rate, the advertisement of the public hearing was approved yesterday with a cap of 1.15. So that means the board can discuss and authorize anything up to that point. The anticipated increase in revenue for the county general fund is very minimal. It's less than $40 million, which is a 0.55% revenue increase. And those are typically split between the county and the schools. So the county would get half and the schools would get half, which certainly does not fund the full priorities on either side. For the county side, those priorities include public health staffing, the next phase of body-worn cameras, the continued expansion of the opioid task force and diversion first, and a couple of other very, very minor things. So like Miriam mentioned earlier, I personally consider us pretty lucky to have gotten away with a flat budget, knowing what many of our colleague jurisdictions and libraries are seeing coming up. There is no planned compensation increase for staff at this time. And the process is, now that the budget's been advertised, all the board supervisor members are having their budget town halls in their communities. The full board will come back together April 13th through the 15th for the general public budget hearings for the full board. And then they will do a budget markup and an eventual approval in May. So lots of opportunities for input and feedback. I'm anticipating a pretty busy budget season this year because of the anticipated tax rate decrease. Even though that's going a penny down, people's residential real estate appraisals went up. So there's a lot of conversations that are going to happen there. I think those are the high points, Miriam.
Jessica?
Great. Thank you, Jessica.
Can I ask you a question? I saw that Chairman McKay tweeted yesterday, today we advertise the tax rate as 1.15.
Right.
Does that mean that he's like, because I know that's flat, right? That's flat.
So yeah, 1.15 is flat. So when they advertise a rate, they're advertising for the public hearings on it, for the discussion on it. And whatever they advertise is the cap of what they can eventually approve. So if they had advertised 1.14 and then they went into discussions and they were like, wow, we really need an extra penny, there was no way that they could have approved it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other questions on the committee? And I want to stress how important it is, you know, as trustees to be visible and positive during this season with your representative. And speaking of being visible and positive, let's hear from the Outreach Committee. Brian.
I don't have a lot. You'll see in your packet the Outreach Committee's, well, the spring 2021 talking points. I don't want to go through all of them in any detail. There are 3 that have kind of happened already. The Chromebook lending is a pilot program that's going on. I hope it works well because I think a lot more people throughout the county can use it. Whether we can afford more Chromebooks, I don't know. That's something else to talk about. The Ask Your Library texting is now added to the voice, and the One Community Many Stories business that they had a lot of events during Black History Month. I don't know of any in particular during Women's History Month now, but I'm sure there will be others in the future for other things. The 2 programs coming up are Read Away Your Fines during Library Week, which is early April 4th to 10th. And then Kristen Hanna is going to be a speaker, a virtual speaker, talking about, I guess, her new book and other books too in April 22nd. We had our meeting in February. Our next meeting is May 17th at 2 p.m. and it's still a Zoom meeting, unfortunately. That's it.
Okay, great. Any questions from anybody on, okay, great. Moving on to policy committee, Sheila.
Okay, we met on February the 23rd, and we completed our review of the library board bylaws at that meeting. And I just want to say that it is a consideration item at this meeting, and it will be an action item next in April. No, this is
that's right.
March. This is March, in April. So in the meantime, please read over and study the bylaws. There's a lot in there. And tonight we won't be discussing it, but we will be in April. So I just encourage you to take a look at them and see the changes we've made or not made, suggested, and look at the cleaned up version to see how we have changed things. So that's it. And we don't have another meeting planned. So we'll see.
Okay, thank you, Sheila. Any questions for that? Anybody? Looking around, I can't see everybody, but I'm looking around. Okay, great, thank you. And now it's time for the director's report. Back to Jessica.
Well, I want to start off and say thank you to the board for supporting a second year of the Staff Excellence Awards. I know it's kind of funky to do this virtually and not be able to see people and fet them and enjoy the snackums that come with a live event, but it was so heartening to see. The first year we did this award, there were 100 nominations. And then the second year, there were almost 100 nominations, even though we didn't have our doors open to the public. That's amazing. And it really showcases how fantastic our library staff are and how hard they work and how much the public loves them and how much our staff love them back. So I just want to say thank you to start off with. The next is I would love to have a brief guessing game. We've talked about the Kristen Hanna event, which is coming up on April 22nd. You've still got 5 weeks to register. How many people do you think are registered already? Anyone want to throw a guess out there?
500.
Okay, I've got a 500. Anyone want to go higher than that?
800.
Okay, anyone want to go higher than that?
1,300.
How about a little bit more?
Oh my goodness.
2,000.
Yeah, not quite there yet. So as of about 4 o'clock, registrations were at 1,323 people.
Is there a limit to how many we can?
I was scared to ask, so I don't know. It was just shocking when Ted told me that number. And there are still 5 more weeks of registration. So I think this is going to be a very popular event. And
It already is, yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
And one of the nice kind of silver linings that's come out of this pandemic for our library system is how much popularity has been generated for online adult programming.
Yeah.
So you heard earlier about Kylie, who's doing awesome online ELL programs. And for author visits, it's been staggering to see the increase in people that attend. So the Marie Benedict event that was last week, 105-ish people attend that, which was just awesome. This has been a really good learning tool for us that for authors that usually cost us a whole boatload of money, now we don't have to pay travel costs for them. So it's a little bit more feasible to get them to participate. And there's even the opportunity to do things regionally and split the costs. So have fun with the throngs of virtual viewers when you go see Kristen Hanna. Jane, you're going to have a very large viewing audience for your introduction. Brian mentioned earlier that one of the items on your talking points for this quarter is our Chromebooks, our checkout laptops. And I wanted to share that those are going along swimmingly. We have them at 4 locations right now. All of them are checked out at the Sherwood Library. They are our rock star on this one so far. They've been really promoting them well. And about 50% of them are checked out in other locations. So we're starting to build some good momentum. And we've even had interest from other county agencies in helping to support this effort to decrease digital divide that's happening during the pandemic. So it's going really well. And we do anticipate we're going to be able to continue and grow the program. Kind of in the same vein, I had mentioned at your last meeting that the library continues to purposefully expand our exterior wireless so that, if you're sitting in a library parking lot, normally it's just the fallout of our interior wireless. So if you're really close to the door, you're okay, but anywhere further out, it's not great. So we have been purposefully installing wireless in our parking lots. And it's done at 2 locations, Centerville and Chantilly. And we have heard reports that people are already finding it, even though we're not promoting it, and have hunkered down to get some work done. So it starts, and we're anticipating that all of the branches that can support it, it's not going to be all of them, but all the branches where we can make it happen in a parking lot should be done in the next, let's call it 2 months. And I'll continue to report out on how that's going. Let's see. Oh, don't know how I missed this. We are reopening for limited express services on March 22nd. You should have all gotten the email from myself and then the general update from your email account from the Library Blast. And we're anticipating that the public is going to be really happy. We've already gotten lots of great social media comments. People miss coming in their library, but we want to maintain that continued safe working environment too. So still a 30-minute time limit, still behind plexiglass, still 6 feet of distancing, you know. Please wash your hands when you're coming into the library. Don't lick our books. There's a lot of rules we try and apply across the board. So please do come and enjoy resumed interior services in about 2 weeks, but we're still in a pandemic. Not everyone is vaccinated, including library staff. So be safe and keep your visits short, but enjoy them while you're there as well. And then one other brief piece on that topic is about quarantining. For a long time, we've been quarantining for 7 days on the advice of the federal study that the Realm group put together. And we recently received an update from the Virginia Department of Health that we can decrease our quarantine period to 24 to 48 hours.
Oh, good.
So, yes, so that is moving forward. We haven't been strongly publicizing it yet because we really want to check out the mighty piles of things that we have backlogged first. We don't want to support, you can come in 24 hours and all your stuff will be checked in. It's actually kind of a mountain of other stuff. So that'll be coming up soon if it's not happening already, but you can anticipate you might get your hold a little bit faster as they're not going to be sitting in a pile for 6 extra days. Those are all of my updates. Happy to answer any questions if anyone has anything.
Can I ask a question, Jessica? I seem to recall that board books weren't being checked out. Is that still the case?
Board books can be checked out. We just don't have them on the public floor. So you can ask for them and we'll do a grab bag of them for you, or we'll give them to you. But those are the items in our collection that are most likely to go into someone's mouth. So we have kept those tucked away for now, but they are checkoutable. You just need to ask for them.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, did you want to say anything about ALA or the task force on equity, or just?
Oh, that you mean the actual items that I put into your
Oh,
report?
just a thought. I don't know.
Right there? Yes,
it's
sure,
up to you.
It's,
we can read things.
You can. Just a little brief update. I had so many other exciting things.
I know, it was great. I didn't know. I was sort of like, should I ask about? Yeah.
No,
Okay, great.
You're absolutely right. So we already talked about the budget, the ALA conference. I'll let you all know as soon as the program is posted. But we've sent a poll around to staff, just a yes or no quick vote to see who might be interested since it's virtual. And we've had more than 100 staff so far say that they would love to participate. So I think we're going to try and do what we can again this year to send as many people as we can, even for just a day. And the program should be out in April. So we got a little bit more time on that. And if you have a few free hours, the chairman's task force on an opportunity presented to the board a week and a half ago now, and the video is up, and it was a really fascinating presentation. You can look at the PowerPoint as well. That's all available online, but actually listening to their dialogue about why this was brought forward and the factors that they've been looking at is just really interesting. So I recommend it if you have a little bit of time. The next step for the board of supervisors, they heard the presentation, they didn't accept anything yet, is that it's going to be broken apart by staff and they're going to bring back recommendations. Now my report is done.
Now you're done. Okay, great. All righty. So moving along, and Sheila already mentioned it, that there's a consideration item on the table tonight, and I just want to go through what it is and what that means, which she already did, but I'm just going to reiterate. So what's really nice is the 3 versions that you have to study between now and our April meeting. And you have the teen version which is the committee's finished product. And then you have the current version, just the way it was. So you have the way it was and the vision for the future. And in between you have how the committee wrote it all up and crossed things out and added things and did this and that and the other thing. So you can choose how you want to study it, but I recommend highly that you read the whole thing, because we did the committee did reorganization and sort of rearranging, as well as adding things for clarification, with an eye toward questions that had come up about how do we do things and how do we run things. And then the committee addressed those issues and then tried to put clarifying state information into the bylaws, so that in the future, if the questions came up again, it would be really easy to find the answers, instead of, because the committee was working on this with Christine, and there was like, Christine, what about this? Christine, what about that? So Christine had to go off and do a lot of research and find out information. So the feeling that let's make sure it's in there, so we're really on solid ground when we're operating. So a lot of work went into this. So it's ready for discussion. Sheila, do you want to add anything?
I thought it would be a good idea to explain the process that the committee goes through when we are reviewing and looking at a board. The first thing we do when we get a policy is we read through it to see what's current, still current, and if anything along those lines needs to be changed. And what we do is, it's not just off the top of our heads. We check Virginia code, we look at documentation from the Virginia Library Association, or ALA. As Fran said, Christine and now Jessica, they do thorough researching our questions. They check, Jessica checks with the county attorney or looks into practices in other jurisdictions. So it's a thorough looking at. And then the second thing we do is we clean up the language. Sometimes the language isn't as clear as we would like it, or it's talking about something that's out of date. So we spend a lot of time with the language. And the one thing I would like to point out, we have an in-house expert on words such as shall, will, and may. So that's Gary. Gary really keeps us on our toes. And we spend a lot of time on those words. They each have a legal definition that we don't generally use in our common language. And then the last thing we do is we combine and rearrange sections that we want to make it clearer, because it's the time that we're cleaning it up. So the process is a very intense exercise. And so when you're reviewing and studying the policy, keep these things in mind. And also, it'll be a good time it's the time to discuss them when we have the action item. But I did want you to know what the review process is for the policy committee. So
that's great. Thank you.
Are we ready for the action item now?
Now we'll move on to the action item. And so Sheila, would you like to introduce that?
Well, this is policy W. And what we're doing is, let me see where.
So this is, last month it was a consideration item. So between then and now,
right.
And you've all studied it.
Right. So this is the policy regarding appropriate use of library parking lots, grounds, and exterior plaza and porches and gathering places. And so in our, let me see, Jessica, you're going to be able to put up our clean version for us.
Sure thing.
Okay. And since you all did study and read over the old version and then the markups, and then I'd like to just work with the clean version. You'll see that we really rearranged the whole format. It's right. And I think that what I'd like to do is take it sentence by sentence or element by element. So,
well, you mean you want to read it?
Why don't we go through it and, well, we could talk it about, we can discuss it in general, or we can take it A, B, C, and D. So.
Well, first we have to have a motion.
We have to have a motion.
We
All
have to
right.
have a motion
Right. So,
of acceptance before we can have a discussion.
Okay.
So,
and I'm going to rely on Fran. So the discussion, raise your hand, and Fran will be keeping track of who's speaking. So she will take that part of it.
well, okay, great. Yes, Jane and I will keep an eye out and see who's next. And remember that in strict parliamentary procedure, you should limit your comments if you're going to one, and to be complete. And then the point being so that not one person will just like say the same thing over and over again, but we will actually have a discussion that moves toward a resolution. So if we could have a motion to accept the new policy W.
I so move. Oh,
Okay.
or I'll second then.
Okay. And and now we have discussion.
Now you have discussion.
Yeah. Okay, so the floor is now open to discussion.
I will discuss very briefly that I like the way it's written. I think it's good. And in Burke Center parking, which happens to be right around the corner from my house, I've noticed a couple things go on. I've seen some other county trucks parked there, sometimes even overnight. I don't have a problem with that. It's county ground. I've seen that the scouts often use, well, a couple times a year, use the far end of the lot to gather together and pick up their kids when they're going for an overnight. Again, I don't see anything in here that says you can't do that, but that is something that goes on. And then in the winter, usually when the library's closed, there's a lot of sledding down at that far end, not on the lot, but people actually stop on the lot, you know, if they bring their kids in trucks and cars, and then go down the hill. I think as long as there's flexibility built in, where if the library does happen to be open, the branch manager doesn't have to say anything to them or can keep an eye out. I think that's good, but they aren't explicitly mentioned. So I just want to say, I'm sure other libraries have other oddball things happen in their parking lot too.
Sheila, may I speak to that?
Yes, I was going to ask you to, please.
Sure. So Brian, I do think there's enough flexibility in there. So things like the scouts, or we've had people who want to do drive-through events during this time. Anything under 6 months as part of 1E is something that I can approve on your behalf. So our public has been really good about making sure that they ask. Typically, the sledding thing I didn't know about, but the branches, the branch managers in specific, make a recommendation on if they think they can support it. So, you know, during normal times, if someone wanted to use the parking lot during summer reading event, that would probably be a no-go. But right now, it's really easy for us to support community needs.
Okay, with the screen sharing, I can't actually see who wants, if anybody has their hand up to speak. I don't know.
I do not see anyone's hand up.
I don't
see anyone either.
Oh, Liz's hand is up.
How can I get that to show?
I have to just keep. I don't know if this is a problem here, but I know that in some areas, in some situations, it is a problem. Did the subcommittee discuss at all about trash receptacles and it's inappropriate to use the trash receptacles by the community or anything like that? I don't even know if that's a problem.
So Sheila?
Jessica?
Yeah, sure. So at some locations it's not even a problem with trash receptacles. We have one location where people really love to leave mattresses for some reason. And that doesn't land in the trash receptacle, it lands near the trash receptacle. But the garbage cans are owned and maintained by other agencies beyond the library, so they wouldn't be incorporated into this per se. And most of our facilities, it's not too bad. They're in the enclosures that can be locked. It's really just a few select locations that we work with other county agencies to support removal on.
So the decision was not, I mean, it wasn't discussed, it sounds like, and that it's not appropriate to include because it hasn't been a problem.
I think that's accurate, yes.
Okay, and the other thing I have is, and I wasn't sure what Fran meant about one comment, but when we talk about agreements, is that written agreements for the library director and or the board decision, or is it verbal, or that the library director can do verbal agreements and that the board does written agreements? I know there's a 6-month window there, but I wasn't sure whether everything needed to be in writing.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
At this time, for the under 6-month items, I have some that come through as just emails and some that are more consistent requests, like the school's request on a semester basis to park buses in specific lots. Those ones are written and they're signed by the schools and by the county. Most of them are just email one-offs. Anything that came to the library board, because it would be long-term and it would be part of your packet, would be in writing.
Can you, would you do something verbally? Like if I called you and I asked to do something, would you be able to verbally tell me over the phone? Yes, it's okay.
There's no prohibition against that right now. It hasn't been our practice, but there's nothing that would exclude it.
All right.
Right. Okay. Does anybody else have any?
I just have.
Okay,
make one
Phil.
comment. Liz, to your question, like I own a building and we have a dumpster in the back, and then next door there's buildings or other dumpsters in the back. And people all the time, like mattresses, they if you leave your bin open, they'll dump, they'll do construction work and fill up your bin. And the problem is there's no way, there's not a policy that we could write that would address that, because people just sneak up in the middle of the night and do it. So I'm making something that's pretty elegantly clear, but I just thought since you commented, I would mention that.
Okay.
And you're gonna have to call Kevin. Poor Kevin.
And you know what? You would call Kevin.
Kevin's the man on that.
Some people are pretty brazen. They could probably go during the day, and I didn't know if we had any cameras on the outside of the libraries.
No.
Okay, any other discussion?
Any other okay, good.
Yeah.
Would you want like a motion to accept number 1 if we're done discussion, or are you going to wait?
Well, the motion is for the whole policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any?
And I do not see anyone with other questions.
Okay, so now does the chair call the question to vote, or I guess hearing no discussion, we're ready to vote? So all those in favor of the motion to accept policy W as rewritten, please say yay.
Yay.
Yay. Those opposed, please say nay. Hearing no nays, the motion has passed, and good work, committee, on hammering out that new policy. Good job.
Thank you.
All right.
Also, a nice explanation from Sheila on the process.
I think you can stop sharing the screen now.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
Okay, so now we're ready for the round table. So do you like me to call, since you can't see each other, just do that same thing I did before, make it easier? Start with Braddock.
I have nothing. Thank you. I thought quickly, though, that the awards were great and they went well in the Zoom format. And next year, let's do it live.
Yeah, right. Okay, Miriam. You're muted.
Sorry, I'm unmuting just to echo everything that Brian just said.
Thank you, Jane.
I would just like to give a plug to Jessica and Christine's podcast called You're Making Me Read What?
Are they back?
They're
What is it called? Say that again. Jane, I missed what it's called.
It's called You're Making Me Read What? And so Jessica and Christine have very different tastes in reading. And so this month they're talking about this book, The Girl with the Pearl Earring. based on the painting by Vermeer. And I had actually read this book a couple of years ago, and I was just caught up on what a creep the artist was. But the podcast conversation really helped flesh out the other characters, and it really deepened my understanding of the book. So now I want to go reread it. And thanks. It was just a really pleasant podcast to listen
Tell
to.
me where
You guys
you
always do a
found
great
it.
job.
Wait until you listen to next month's, because it is full of arguments.
Tell me where you find it.
It's sci-fi.
Oh, you can, I mean, you can find it on any podcast app. You can get it on Stitcher or Cloud, the Cloud app one. But yeah, it is available. Christine maintains strongly that we have 2 listeners, her mom, and maybe apparently Jane, maybe it's 3
And now
now.
Jane.
I have seen and Amy, one of our
I
staff.
listen. I
I
listen
have
to it.
seen
I
the
love it.
numbers. They're in the 3 digits. So we have a
Oh.
small but dedicated fan base that Christine thinks I imagine.
I am subscribing this minute, so you'll have
I am
another.
going to do that right now.
Right now, there we go.
I don't know how. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. I don't
And
know.
now I'm going to give you a rating even before I've listened. So there we go.
I have been literally wishing for, like, I wanted some recommendations about book podcasts where people talk about books, and I love that book. So I mean, maybe you were reading stuff that I would be interested in talking about.
But it depends on which one. So Christine, I'm going to quote our intro. Christine likes to read realistic books that are grounded in reality and have like plot lines and boring stuff. I prefer science fiction and fantasy, things that are kind of magical. So it tends to disagree on philosophical lines.
Well, I'm excited. Thank you for letting us
Both
know.
like Neil
Jane.
Gaiman, though,
Thank
right?
you.
Good. It's good.
Both like Neil Gaiman, though, right? Okay.
Say that again?
I said you both like Neil Gaiman, though, right?
That is not true. I do, but Christine had him, he commented on one of our social media feeds when we did it.
I know. I remember that.
I know.
That's why
I'm
I
just
said it.
refreshing for trustees who didn't see that and reinforcing Christine's Neil Gaiman fear. I don't know.
Great. That's great.
Okay.
Screen doesn't look happy on this screen.
Can you see the picture? You can't see my phone on here. It's so cute. The picture on your podcast is so cute. I'm so excited. I have downloaded it. I'm excited, girls.
Okay, back to the round table. Suzanne Levy. Hit it.
The link is in the chat, by the way. It was just put in the chat.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say, I'm going to show this to my son. He had to read that book in high school and absolutely hated it.
Oh, he also felt it was boring. Okay.
I think so. I think so. So I'm going to send him the link to the podcast, and also my English teacher daughter-in-law. I want to, let's see. I checked with my branch manager today to see what was new and exciting. And Keith, this one's for you. I'm going to send you all a link to Chris Barbashak, who's on the Virginia Room staff, spoke at a Lee District meeting on the origins of the name, where Lee District name came from.
That was awesome. I seen him do it live. It was awesome.
Okay, great. So it's still nobody knows. I mean, they can't prove it, but I will send you all that link. And I also was going to plug, since this is Women's History Book Month, I was going to plug a book by Mary Buckingham Lindsay. Mary's a retired Lake Braddock middle school teacher who served on the County History Commission for many years and is also the mother of the Civil War kits, which I checked the catalog and they're still there. She put together kits for students studying the Civil War with items from both sides of the they're items like hardtack and hats that the soldiers wore, that sort of thing. And Mary has written a book that's really appropriate for this month. It's in the library collection. It's called Almost Forgotten Women, Yesterday's Headliners. And she has biographical sketches on, for the most part, moderately famous author or women who have done interesting things in their lives. And there's a number of categories, and she'd asked me to read this book several months ago. and give her comments. And of course, I feel obligated to read my whole books first rather than a book that's given to me. And I finally finished it last month, and it's really a wonderful book. It was written for middle school age students in mind. And again, it's if you've got a kid who needs to do a History Day project, there are a lot of interesting people here that probably no one else has ever chosen. So I'm giving Mary Lipsy's book, Almost Forgotten Women, a plug. And that's all I have to say. It's good to see all of you. And I hope we'll be in person soon.
Thank you. And Sujatha, your turn.
Hi. I just wanted to tell you guys that on Monday, I think it was Monday, I went to the Socrates Cafe.
All right.
It was great fun. She literally has a bowl and questions, and there weren't a lot of us there, but you pick a couple of questions and talk about stuff. I mean, it's interesting to think about like the way that different people are thinking about answering this question, what it means to have a conversation like this. The different ways that people are addressing a thing. Like one of the questions, I think the first one was, is there any being more intelligent than humans or something like that? Is there any, I mean, I'm not saying it right. It was more philosophical sounding, right? But there was a really kind of good discussion. Like my answer was trees. Have you read Overstory by Richard Power? If you haven't read Overstory by Richard Power, once you read that, you're like, the trees are doing all kinds of communicating under the ground and taking care of themselves. It was a very interesting conversation. I highly recommend. And you can find the link. I don't even remember where you find the link. I found the link last time, so you must be able to find the link on the website.
Yeah.
And it's on the second Monday of the month at 2 p.m. So I'm putting a plug in for Socrates Cafe. I'd love for you guys to come join. I think it would be fun. With more people, it's even more fun. So
great. Thank you. Okay, Sheila.
Okay, I just want to say that Supervisor Alcorn's office is excited that we are reopening, and he had a blurb in his Hunter Mill District newsletter today, so that's good. And I am going to watch the podcast for The Girl with the Pearl Earring, because when the book first came out, I was writing reviews for School Library Journal, and I reviewed that book in the adult books for teens column. And I'll have to see, I don't remember what I said, but I'll have to compare your conversation with what I wrote in that review. So looking forward to it.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Keith.
I really feel like I have to say thanks to Jessica as well as Christine for just running a really well-run library system. And I'm constantly just amazed by the things that the library system does, and it wouldn't be able to do it without great leadership. So I probably will say this once a month, but thank you.
Very nice. That's great. Thank you. Okay, Gary, your turn.
I just want Brian to know that the library is featuring Women's Month. I just saw here, I should admit that I was looking at my cell phone during the meeting, but 34 minutes ago, the library Facebook page announced that they're sponsoring an event on Monday at 2 p.m. Fly, Betsy, Fly. It's a one-woman virtual show about the pioneering African-American aviator, Betsy Coleman. So, Brian, don't worry, the library is on top of it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Gary. How about Phil?
In the beginning there, I almost got mad, not at Gary, with Brian, because I thought he was stealing my reading of pendergast that I have. He started into to the
I should have warned you.
Recognition of the thing, and
Sorry.
I'm sitting back and I said, somebody messed up here. So I think what I'd like to suggest, number one, when we review these, what people are saying about the library, maybe the outreach committee could do some kind of a little get together, but this is something that information that we should get in front of the supervisors, whether they read it or not, to see how important, the library's been, especially during this crazy time, and the way, Jessica and the other leaders of the library stepped up and, tried to fill gaps for people. And I think that's something that needs to be get out there and broadcast, if it's possible, a little bit more, that people know that as we move forward. So again, that award thing I think is wonderful. And I was very, very happy because as I know the branch manager there, and they do an excellent job, let's say, at pohick, and again, in all the other library branches as well.
Phil, I think that's a great idea. I just made a note to send to Penny about the staff person at the George Mason Library in Mason District who won the award, so that maybe she'll put it into her next newsletter. And then and maybe we could sort of get on top of for next year to send the information to the supervisors to put into their newsletters, because I don't know that they do them every month, but it's probably more like once a quarter, but still we should get ahead of it and publicize it in the newsletter. I think that's a great idea, Phil.
I'm going to send it to Pat Harris. It's like I send them things, and every now and then they put something in.
Right, yeah.
But I'll call Dave Foreman and ask him if he could put something in this.
Yeah,
maybe he will, maybe he won't. So
right, that's a great idea. All right, Liz, since you're W, I'm not going to make you last this time, though.
I'm used to it.
I know, but it's not fair, is it?
My maiden name was Barton. I was always at the beginning. And then I marry a Walker. I'm at the end. I don't have much. I just wanted to say that I'm so grateful that I was able to participate on the nominations for the award. When you read the write-ups that people submitted, it just, and the variety of what they focused on, it just I always expand my knowledge attending this meeting and doing things for the library. I just am always so amazed at everything that we do and the kind of staff that we have supporting our communities is just unbelievably, makes me so proud to be a part of this group. So thank you so much for Fran for asking me to do that. And I have been asked to speak at the Sully District Council of Citizens Associations meeting. And I asked Jessica and my two librarians through Jessica if they would like to also participate since we have more than an hour. Wow. And excuse me. It was supposed to be end of April, but then they moved us. So now we don't have until July, which gives us more time to actually work through the things. So I'm looking forward to my first time to get out into the community in a Zoom meeting to represent the library board of trustees. So
yeah, that sounds great.
Other than that, there's nothing new and exciting happening that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you, Liz. And Priscilla.
Thank you. I just want to thank all of the people who took the time to write in a nomination. And I would imagine that it's 1,000-fold other people that maybe had they known or had the opportunity or time that they would have done the same. I think when you have such a broad cross section of positions and locations, then that's a real indication that the library staff is serving the community so well. And I don't know about anybody else, but I almost cried maybe 4 times listening to people. And I don't know, I just thought it was amazing. I really did. So thank you for making it possible to do that. And I appreciated that time. And my little off the cuff shout out to Christine. I can tell her a story one time when I got to be in an unexpected conversation with Neil Gaiman and forgot how to speak in complete sentences. It's probably one of my most embarrassing moments of my entire life. So I can entertain you with that some other time.
We'll put that on the agenda. That sounds like a great story. Okay, I think we're at the end of the list and it's 8:41, so we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
I
And
move we
see
adjourn.
Phil, thank you. And a second.
Second.
Keith, thank you. And all those in favor, or is there any discussion? No. Okay, great. And all those in favor, say aye. I don't know why I said say yay last time, but anyway, aye. And any no's? No. So we are adjourned. Thank you all very much for a
Have a good month.
great
Thank you.
meeting.
You
Thank
too.
Have fun, everybody.
Take care.
you. See you.